A long story that was originally supposed to be a retirement plan for the owners, Jeff Dunster and Daryl Fox, who had worked for 25 years in the mortgage industry, or not mortgage, I should say, in the stocks and bonds. They would do acquisitions and mergers for companies. And dealing with that industry, you meet a lot of people who aren't really on the up and up, and they kind of got dismayed in that. And they kept, while they were doing that, watching commodities. That was what they did. They looked at investments. And one of the things they noticed was that tropical hardwoods was something that was consistent over the years and always exceeded the national inflation rate. And so what they thought was, well, maybe we could retire. We'll plant trees, which is really good to do. We need to reforest koa anyway, and we'll plant a few trees that we might be able to harvest and just sustain our retirement. Well, what happened was that plan of retirement became a business model, and they failed miserably at the retirement, and created a way for us to reforest trees, put trees in the ground responsibly, and have the community involved, which is the important part, because it's real simple for us to go out and all take trees out. But it's not so simple for people to go back and put trees in the ground. And there's just not enough people doing it. So what they thought was, well, if we make these trees as a gifted tree, which is our legacy tree, then the community is actually putting the tree back in the ground. So for example, on your birthday or Valentine's Day, instead of a dozen roses, which will be gone in a week, I buy you a tree, a legacy tree, it's a koa tree, and when the tree is planted, we tag that with an RFID chip, as well as the GPS coordinates. So now you have a specific tree that's becoming part of a forest that's going to be there for eternity. It will never be cut down. And now the community, you or myself, has put that tree in the ground. So we also thought that by doing this, that's great, but how else can we help the community? So what we said was, if the tree costs $60 to be planted, we'll take $20 from that and donate it to a nonprofit or fundraising organization of that person's choice. So if I say, well, I'm buying you a tree and I'm donating $20 to the Cancer Society, everybody benefits. We're providing jobs, we're sequestering carbon out of the air, we're providing oxygen, we're preventing soil erosion, we're creating a watershed, we're returning koa, which is endemic to Hawaii, it grows nowhere else on earth, and now the community's put the forest back. And so far we've got close to 200,000 trees in the ground. Each one has been put there by someone for someone, and you can't find that anywhere else. So it is a huge turn of events from a try at retirement for them into a business model that's sustainable because the cost is being covered. Now we're simply the tool to put the trees in the ground. People come and partner with us to plant the trees. Organizations, individuals, companies can gift each other to thank their clients for years of service by planting trees for them, and it just provides so much good. We also grow a few trees on the side, about 25%, that will be harvested because people do depend on koa for their livelihood. It's been a part of the history of Hawaii for thousands of years, and it's been decimated. 400 acres a year that are being claimed are being taken out, and nobody's planting that much. So what we'll do is, by planting the trees to be harvested, a few of them, that allows those people to continue to have koa to work with, and it's being taken responsibly. So we're not taking old growth koa out of the ground. We're only taking koa that we put there, and that's much more responsible. And again, people can invest in those trees. So people invest in a true green product. Yes, they'll make money on their investment, but during the time of growth, the 25-year period, that those trees become a habitat for indigenous species of birds and wildlife who will nest there. They'll provide seeds so that we can sustain the operation, and it becomes full circle. The legacy program, which are trees never to be harvested, will eventually be a thriving indigenous forest of just anything that's from Hawaii belongs here will be put back. We take out invasives before we plant our other endemic species of trees. Eventually, when the trees get big enough, we'll go in with an understory, and we'll start planting mamani and kamani and nayo and iliahi, which is sandalwood, and other trees that are meant to be as part of this forest, so that ecosystem is thriving and it's one that's meant to be in Hawaii. So that's kind of where we went from the beginning, where we're going now, and we work with nonprofit organizations like Big Brothers Big Sisters, Make-A-Wish Foundation, MAD. We work with the Four Seasons Hotel on the Big Island. They're allowing every guest to check in to purchase a tree in their name, so they'll leave a legacy behind, and that tree will offset their carbon footprint. So every time they come back to Hawaii, they'll have a tree there to visit, which is really cool. And the nonprofit organizations benefit because government funding's been cut. This is another way to supplement their other activities. And be green. I think it's the awareness. People forget. There was a number that came out from the Department of Land and Natural Resources about Oahu itself. 60% of our water supply comes out through the aquifers from Pearl Harbor. We're at 50% of the level of water we had in 1910, but our population has grown quite a bit. And that's from deforestation. Every time we take more vegetation off the mountainside, more of the runoff, more of the water or the rain that falls, it just runs off into the streams, eventually out into the ocean, and eventually it ends up on the reefs and kills off our reefs. So what happens in the mountains affects all the way down. So the Ahupua'a, which is our system of the rainfall, is being damaged. We're losing that. So by reforestation, by revegetating, if you will, putting more trees and plants back up in the mountains, we're able to capture the cloud mist, and as the mist forms droplets of water on the leaves, they'll fall and soak into the water. We can create a new watershed, bring back more water supply. We all need water. We're not saying we want to take over every single inch of the island and reforest, but we certainly need to return quite a bit of it if we want to keep our watersheds full. Cattle industry has been very important to provide, but what's happened is for ranchers, what happens is they go in and they clear cut the land so they can run the cattle, and by clear cutting they're taking out these beautiful old growth forests. As we lose the forests, we lose the water. So, and a lot of our wildlife. And I think we have more lost, or I should say extinct species of animals in Hawaii than any other state, and it's because of this deforestation. So it's important. We've seen a huge increase already with our trees of returning wildlife. More birds, the Kamehameha butterflies come back, Hawaiian hawk, the pu'eo, the owls are starting to return. They notice a change on the property and they're starting to come back. So it's very encouraging. And if everyone on the island, say 1.2 million people, were to plant one tree each, we would be able to plant out our entire property. That's a lot of trees. So go out and buy a tree, make a different decision this Christmas or this holiday or the birthday or for an anniversary or whatever it may be. And with that certificate, you'll be able to go and visit your tree with the coordinates. We'll take you to the ranch. You can watch your tree grow year after year after year. So you'll have a specific tree at a specific location, which doesn't happen. Because the community benefits from it. So, for example, schools need to do fundraising. Well, they can go out and buy, and I'm not going to put any companies down, but if you're buying 7-Eleven booklets and selling candy and you have Zippy's Chilies and things, that's all great for fundraising. But where you have an opportunity to bring the awareness of how important our forests are, children can go out and start selling and reforesting trees and understand how important our environment is by doing this. And every time a tree goes in the ground, again, it's a community project. And the money is returned through a donation to their fundraising activity. Everybody benefits. I would love to get a tree in my name that's part of a forest, a thriving ecosystem, and know that a charity was able to get some dollars towards their programs, and know that, say, some school or a child had done that as a fundraising activity rather than going out and doing the traditional ones, which have worked. And it's okay to supplement those with something that is greener, very green, and something that's good for the entire community. And we provide a lot of jobs, especially after the sugarcane collapse, business collapse in the Big Island. A lot of agriculture workers were out of work. There's a lot of students on the Big Island. So what we're able to do is by increasing our planting, having more people be part of it, we can provide more jobs and we can return our forests. Well, it's funny because I changed a career of 32 years in the restaurant business to do this. I actually went up to the ranch to visit a friend, and he got me up at 5:30 in the morning, and I went out and actually planted koa. And I thought, wow, this is really cool. Can I make a living? Can I provide for my family doing this and do something that's really good for the community and everyone? And it changed the way I thought about what I had been doing and what I wanted to do. I've only got a certain amount of time, as we all do on this earth, and if I could do something that can be responsible, that can bring back or help or contribute in some way, why not do it? And support my family. We have a responsibility to ourselves, and we have a responsibility in the community. And I can do both those things now. And it's really important to me. I can sleep at night really well.